Hi, my name is Jason Gleaton, and I am an environmental engineering student here at the University of Clemson. For mission transition, the group I was in was for peer pressure. And within that group, my specific group did a little skit on how peer pressure can be bad. I do feel like our message was achieved really in the end of showing that peer pressure could be a bad thing on how it affects people. Our voices within our skit was more reserved. Like the voices telling you, nah, we should go home, we shouldn't go to the next party, we shouldn't be doing this, and all that stuff. And especially with my role at the end, where I was hit by the car and was killed. It wasn't really to be a, hey, don't do this. It was supposed to be a subtle, you shouldn't, come on, let's quit, let's just go back, we don't need to be doing this anymore. And that's just how it felt to me, really. My role really in the group, I wasn't liking how everything was going. I just wanted to have it a simple role, nothing big, just something to get it done, get it over with, really. Which is why I went with the dying part in the skit. Even though we were trying to get it as to where people were being drunk and fooling around and drinking alcohol, even if it's pretend, really, it doesn't feel right to me doing it based on my beliefs. Well, not really beliefs, but my way of life that I live. Being straight edge, I not many people know what straight edge means, but in the end, basically it means I live a life free of drugs, alcohol, and promiscuous sex. I just don't want to live a life brought down by poison, really. In the end, it really hurts you. I feel like, in the end, the peer pressure uh, part of section of mission transition really didn't help me at all because in the end I knew everything that was in it. I come from a family with cops in it. I've been raised to not to actually do the things that people do, not to give in to peer pressure, try to go by what the law states and not drink underage, not do illegal drugs. And on top of that, I think a lot of it has to do with how I was raised by my mother. Like, she raised me to the point where I've learned just not to care what other people think. It's that all that really matters in the end is what I think, not what others think. And the thing with peer pressure is that people give in too much to what others think. And that is just how, in general, human beings are. They need to be accepted by others instead of just not caring about what others think and living for themselves. Which is a problem within not just Clemson but other universities where people come. They end up getting here wanting to be accepted, wanting to be liked, and in the end, all it does is ruins their life. Might not do it, might not happen directly right that instant, but it ends up hurting them later on in life. And even if they somehow get away from it, they're still gonna, and it doesn't really affect them as, say, how their life goes. Just the experience of all this stuff is gonna come back and haunt them to regret them in their memories. Like, they'll be thinking, why did I do this when I was there? How could I have done this? And they'll be full of regrets. And which goes back to me choosing to be straight edge. I don't want to have a life full of regrets of bad decisions, doing drugs or alcohol or one night stands. I mean, I want to live a life that doesn't have any of that in it, which is one of the reasons why I find a lot of the stuff that I have done, per se, with Clemson to be very biased towards students, especially with their alcohol EDU program. I'm not going to go into it, but I feel like that program is very biased. And I understand that not everyone comes in to Clemson expecting to. Not everyone comes into Clemson that are going to become people that are dragged into peer pressure. And I know that there's more peer pressure. There's more to peer pressure than it just being bad. I know there's even good peer pressure. I've had a friend who used good peer pressure to get me into going to a study session for our engineering quiz that was coming up. It really helped out a lot because it showed me how the quiz was going to go, what I needed to know, and it just made it a little bit easier. Coming from Greenville Tech, everything here is just so much different that she also has also convinced me into having to go get student disability because I have major test anxiety, which she taught me into doing, which I agree, which was a very good idea to do. But if the same person that my friend tried to talk me into drinking, she knows that I'm gonna literally tell her, not gonna happen. I'm gonna turn her down, and I'm not gonna touch alcohol. It just comes by how I live my life. And I feel like people, as I have said before, just want to be accepted by others. And until we, as a human species, come to the point of understanding that the acceptance of others in the end doesn't mean nothing, that we need to learn to care about ourselves, and that it is our body, it is our life. We need to choose wisely about what we do with it. This is all I have to say about peer pressure.